Hello, I'm Franklin. Welcome to Frank's Philosophy, the space where we rethink and redefine what we think we know, and embark on a journey of soul searching in order to better understand ourselves and gain deeper insights into the world around us. I have always wanted to start a podcast because it's a great way to express yourself and share what you know with others. And so this is my first episode ever. I hope you'll enjoy my podcast. After listening to this episode, if you like it and would like to hear more, I don't know how much of my appreciation would be enough for your support. But if you don't find it good enough, I also thank you for your patience. Now, let's get started with today's discussion on the ability to take action. We have probably all heard the saying, actions speak louder than words, which seems obvious. But the problem is how much we can practice it. And so I want to talk about the significance of being able to take action, as it is key to self-realization and personal authenticity. First, it is clear that speech is one of mankind's most powerful tools. We use speech to get what we want. Essentially, we use it for persuasion and manipulation of all sorts. Those who have a way with words can quite easily get others to listen and follow what they say through manipulation, especially those with a rhetoric combined with knowledge. And that's the power of speech. However, reality is grounded in action, including the act of speaking itself. Everything you see that happens around you in everyday life is action by nature, whether it be by natural or human causes. Action determines what happens, and thus what happens is what's significant, not mere words that are used for showboating and have no substance, except for purposeful speech aimed at a desired outcome, such as negotiation for a deal. Plans can't become realized and produce results without actions. So if you want something, you'll have to work towards it. Taking action is not just to make our dreams and visions come true, but it also reflects our character and understanding of the world. As humans, we all have natural tendencies for certain things, and so throughout the course of life, without circumstantial necessity, we would just pick up new elements to our liking. Everyone wants to believe what they know is right, and many are more extreme that they don't want their opinions to be challenged. Thus, without testing what we know, we would fall into a phenomenon characterized by detachment from reality with varying degrees. Although we live in the same world, same reality, we do not exactly see and understand everything the same way because of the nuances in personal perception. This leads to the fact that there are different realities as each individual has their own narrative of the world. We don't have to see things eye to eye or think the same way, but we need to make sure our views are connected to reality by way of action, which is to keep ourselves in touch with reality by following one simple principle: practice what you preach and test what you know. If you can't back up what you think and say with actions, then people, sooner or later, will discover that you're just a big talker, a liar, and a fraud. But how do you test what you know? It's simple. Be open-minded, willing to learn and take on new experiences, and be ready to engage in conversations, not to argue, but to listen, to see what you can learn from others' differences. Otherwise, everything you know would all be a delusion, because your behaviors don't align with your verbal rhetoric. Our identity, characterized by our personality, is not only expressed by our own inherent genes, but it's also influenced by our nurturing environment. Both the factors of nature and nurture together form our specific personal tendencies, which lead to the choices we make throughout our lifetime. If you do good things, then you're associated with goodness. But if you do bad things, you'll be viewed negatively. Your identity changes accordingly to your chosen course of action. You can't assume you're good without carrying out sincerely good deeds. In reality, it's not uncommon to come across people who claim themselves to be good people, but their actions are either insufficient or contradictory to the boast statement about themselves. And if ever their authenticity is questioned, they tend to display an unlistening, dismissive attitude. They'll either silently stay away from those whom they deem as unfit to their opinion, or come up with all sorts of self-justification just to get away with what they want, no matter how their own choices may negatively affect themselves and others. Another case is that many people don't even truly understand themselves and mistake their superficial pursuits driven by fluctuating emotions as a reflection of who they are. To be authentic, you must first know yourself in depth. And the only way is to question yourself about what you know and all the assumptions you have. What triggers your emotive reaction in specific situations, and the motive behind all your desires. To place your authenticity under investigation is indeed unsettling, which is understandable because no one wants to be challenged, to expose or admit their flaws and weaknesses. Also, one of the potential outcomes you may face is an existential crisis, upon the realization that what you have known for years turns out to be wrong. But if you expect others to perceive you in the right way, you need to apprehend your own nature in order to manifest yourself through the right actions. Taking actions matters because it verifies who you are, showing your true colors. Anything that purely exists in the mind forever stays in the mind, never a reality, except your own. But the difficulty with taking action is, to many people, it would take a journey from theory to practice. That is, it's always easier said than done, as it demands a higher level of awareness to do the right or appropriate things despite setbacks or hurdles. Now, let's have a look at our society. Detachment from reality has become highly prevalent. Just take some time to observe, and we will notice how many people seem to live in their own world. Especially in this day and age with technology at our service, we have more freedom, comfort, and convenience than ever. We simply have so much choice and personal space to the point that we can reject or cancel anyone who disagrees with us. We have the choice to preserve our own ideas from being challenged, which means instead of learning how to deal with hardship and manage differences, to coexist in harmony, we can simply shut everything down and confine ourselves in our own world. To dig a little deeper, being able to take action is not merely limited within what you're good at or what interests you, because life has many things that you don't like, but you are forced by circumstances nonetheless. And so you may have found yourself in situations wherein you did certain things not because you enjoyed them, but because they were necessary at the time. In certain cases, it means taking responsibility. To accept responsibility where it's due, even when the conditions and circumstances are disadvantageous to you, demonstrates your grit, credibility, and integrity. For instance, let's say there's a man whose family has just gone through a financial crisis and is now struggling to make ends meet. His spouse has unfortunately been caught up in an accident and is in the hospital. He still has his old parents and small kids to tend to. He's the sole breadwinner in the family. Well, the burden is on him as he has to work around the clock from early morning till late at night. He cannot afford to give up. Well, in truth, there are people who can walk away from such situations to save themselves from all the trouble. The ones who say all the good things about themselves, but abandon their friends and family as soon as something bad happens. The fact is, It's hard for you to see someone's true colors when life is smooth and things are going well. All you see is the fancy and glamour presented in front of you. This is exactly why only taking action when necessary reveals a person's true visage, and no fancy talks mean anything. Actually, there's a way to detect the signs of a person with low trustworthiness, but we will discuss that in another episode. And so when it comes to responsibility, since running away or playing the victim card is much easier when life gets ugly, how many people can have enough courage to stand up and do what's right? At the end of the day, self-realization and personal authenticity can only be achieved through the cultivation of character to reach a higher self-awareness, to understand the significance of taking action. Each and every one of us needs to look back at ourselves and ask, have we realized ourselves by doing what it takes? Or are we already content with our own assumptions? Well, that's it. This is the end of this episode. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast and find it helpful, please like, subscribe, share it with others. In case you're interested and want similar content, you can follow the link in the description below to access my blog for some reading. Until next time.